Welcome everyone back to the Crimson 15 podcast. I'm your host, Crimson Sen.
15 PCA.
810-454.
Be sure to check us out over on Twitter at C15 Podcast. Join the discussion over on Discord, link in the description below. And if you're enjoying the videos, be sure to sub, like, share, and hit that bell for notifications. So Disney's Primos is actually coming out. I thought for sure that it got canceled. It was like announced a year ago. Like they had the original concept stuff came out a year ago. And the big controversy was that the creator or whoever put this together wasn't using certain like Spanish terminology correctly. Like it wasn't making sense. Like the grammatically wasn't making any sense. So they got a bunch of heat from that. Then the show just like went away. Like the whole idea of it went away. Then all of a sudden it's coming back. So one or two things happened. They were actively working on the show, which is probably not true. Or they just went to lay low. Like, okay, guys, we need to make sure that we don't say anything and then we'll bring it back later on, which is probably what happened. So we got like a trailer now and all the same problems are still there. It's ugly. The art style is very ugly. Not saying it needs to be like Miyazaki beautiful, but these character designs are some of them are monstrous. To say the least, some of them are straight up monstrous. The main character, this little girl, her name is Tater, like potato, like I said, oh, let's get some taters. I'm hoping that's a nickname. That can't be her real name. Why not give her like a beautiful Spanish name? Why does she have to be named Tater? And the biggest issue for me with this character is her voice. She talks like this. Hello, it's the summer of Tater. Wouldn't you love me to do the whole review with a voice like this? My goodness. Who thought, what voice act, what was the direction, the voice directing? Okay, sound like just put a bunch of marbles in your mouth and that's going to be your voice. It is unbelievably ridiculous. But the premise is, this little girl is going to have a stud, live in LA to make a big point about them being in California because Mexicans are in California, right? And for those who don't know, I'm Mexican. I grew up, I've been a Mexican person my whole entire life. So I'm allowed to say whatever I want about this and no one can say anything about it because, you know, as long as you're the race of the thing you're talking about, you have pure impunity on everything. So this little girl, it's the Phineas and Ferb setup. It's summertime. And you know, those Mexicans, they got a lot of kids. They can't stop having the kids. So all the family members, they drop off all their kids at one house. While growing up, I do remember hanging out with my cousins a lot. We lived in Vegas. We would go to here in Arizona, and we would visit. Maybe for a weekend or two, you know. So the longest I remember is maybe 2 weeks, but it was usually just the week. And we would visit my grandma and grandpa, and we would go around and we would go visit everyone. This seems like they're just dumping everyone off for the whole entire summer. That's a little weird, especially when it's so many kids. It's literally dozens of children. And some of these character designs are very forgettable. Some of them, like I said, are monstrous. There's like this little girl who looks like she has like a unibrow and like she looks like a gremlin. I do like this little like scientist girl. She looks super cool. She looks like a little wizard. It kind of she's giving me Entrapta vibes from She-Ra, where it's like, oh, it looks cool. She looks like the little scientist. I like that character. Out of all the characters, I think she looks the most coolest. But everyone else is either a really weird stereotype, and that's so weird. When did stereotypes become a good thing? When did stereotypes become, oh, this is acceptable? I don't know. It just seems weird. It's just because the person, I'm assuming the lady who made this, or it's a woman, right? Who's the showrunner of this, is Mexican, so she's allowed to like self-deprecate, you know, which is fine. But at the same time, it's like we're just pushing the narrative like, oh, those Mexicans have tons of kids. Oh, those Mexicans have wild children. Those Mexicans. And I just don't like that. Why do we got to push that narrative? Why does my people always have to be relegated to this type of media? You know who was awesome? El Tigre. Now that is a Mexican show that Mexicans stand behind because that was cool. Because he was a hero. He sometimes wanted to be kind of bad, but but at the end of the day, he was a good guy. But that was a cool show that had like cool Mexican culture, and it was like it was a very fantasy type world. But Disney is looking at Nickelodeon's homework, because for those who, Nickelodeon shows, The Loud House. The little boy Lincoln had like a little girlfriend, or a girl that he liked. Her name was, oh my goodness, I forget her name. But she had a spinoff show, and it was called the Casa Grandes, and it was about her family, and they're Spanish. They own a shop, but it had some of those kind of like Mexican stereotypes. Ronnie Ann, that's her name, and that was more believable than this. This like took the stereotype and took it to the extreme. Another thing, the mom seems kind of dumb. We only see her for a couple of seconds, but she does seem kind of dumb. And I don't like that. I think, especially with so many kids around, is nobody watching these kids? Is that another thing they're going to do, where the adults are all idiots and dum-dums, and they're not like actively participating in watching these children? Because it's a lot of kids. I mean, just the food alone to feed this many children would be astronomical. That's back in the day when I was young. Another thing we did, we'd go get the 99-cent everything. Like back then, big Jumbo Jacks at Jack in the Box for 99 cents. So my family would buy like 20 Jumbo Jacks, and that would be dinner because there were so many of us kids. But we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 children, not counting any of the adults. So that's a lot. I don't know. It's going to be silly. It's going to be dumb, and I'm sure people are going to pick it apart. But I just don't like the concept. I don't like the art direction and the voice direction. That little girl, her voice, oh my goodness. But Disney should have let this just die. But I guess they're bringing it out. I don't know. Trying to eat Nickelodeon's leftovers. Crimson Sin here. Thanks for watching the video. Remember, liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting on the video really helps out a lot. It gets the video spread around more people get to see the videos, and we get to make more videos for you guys. So thank you, and we appreciate every single one of you guys.